Alright, I wanted to talk a little bit about some tips and tricks and little weird quirky things about one-point perspective. So I'm on this website by this artist called Julie Duell, and I'm just going to kind of scroll through. I'm not going to have everyone read all of the things. I'm just going to give you a general overview. So this right here is just sort of an example of a thing that happens in perspective. If you look at these two things, this purple tree here and this purple tree here, they are exactly the same size. However, if you were to draw them that way in one-point perspective, the one in the back is going to look like it is a gigantic tree. Even though it's the exact same size as the one up here, because as things are going back in space, you can see with these two trees here, they get littler as things get farther away from you. If you've ever watched a person walk away to the horizon, they get tinier and tinier. So if you look here, it gives a little thing. You can see, by putting, hang on, let it refresh. There we go. They're exactly the same height. If you move it to the back, it's gonna look strange. It's not gonna look like it's in perspective with everything else. So when you are drawing things in one-point perspective, they should get smaller as they are farther away from you. If you try to draw it the same size, it's gonna look like it's a mess. So in general, just to recap, we've gone over this a couple of times. You want to draw the horizon. That's this line here. Sky, land. You have the vanishing point. It's one-point perspective, so you have one vanishing point. And just two diagonal lines using a ruler. I repeat, using a ruler. You can make two sides of a road. You can add this stripe down the middle, you can add some hills, you can add some shoulder or footpath or whatever you want on the side of your road. You can add some fencing, whatever. Again, details are not super important. Even the clouds get smaller as they go farther back in space. Everything gets smaller as it goes away from you. We're gonna skip this little bit right here, popping down to this guy. Oh, right here. Sorry. Scrolling weird. Same thing with these guys here. This is all messed up. This does not make sense. This is a tiny baby. It's not even a baby because it's a human perspective, a human proportions, an adult male proportions versus a baby proportions. He just looks like he's an elf. I don't know. This one makes sense. He's close to me. He's close to the front. He should be the biggest. This guy's farther away. He should be littler. But taking this little guy here and bringing him to the front makes this a whole big mess. So again, if you look at this, it's the same size. This guy up here is actually the size of him right here. He makes no sense when you try to move him closer. Alright, you can look at things with different horizon lines. So if your horizon line is really high up, you're going to be looking down at your objects. If your horizon line is in the middle or towards the low end, you're going to be looking at the front of it for the middle, and you're going to be looking up at objects if you're a very low horizon line. You can do any of these. It just changes how you look at the objects that you're showing. This one is just a very simple, these are two boxes. They all go to the vanishing point like always. If it's above the horizon line, you can see underneath. If it is below the horizon line, you can see into from the top. This one here shows you how windows and doors all slant to that vanishing point as well. They don't all have to line up on one line. You could have windows or doors that are higher or lower up here. But all of the tops here, this part that used to be a horizontal line if you were looking straight on at a window, is now going to tilt down to that vanishing point. This missing bit here, this line, it could connect to right there. If you want to have a little ditch or a divot, that still has to stay within this connected line here. If you have hills, again, it's the same sort of thing. These lines always connect to the vanishing point. I'm not going to worry so much about this. I'm scrolling. No one gets sick. I'm going to scroll really quickly. Here we go. This is kind of that looking down the street sort of a deal. Which will actually be more important next year. This year we're looking more at rooms. This one again, the idea of all of these boxes stacked on top of each other. every single thing goes back to the vanishing point. However, this one is 2-point perspective, which we're not going to get to. So here we go. This is the part that I was looking for. When you want to have curves, you still want to set up this edge out here and this edge out here so you know how wide your curve can go. If you want to have a more sharply curving one, you just make these little grid lines in between closer together. You'll also notice these are, first of all, parallel with the horizon up here. And they are also getting closer together as you get farther back. So these little side lines, you can see it's a wider space here, gets a little narrower, 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 and then up here they're really, really close together. Again, things that get farther away get condensed to that vanishing point. Alright, and thank you to our Miss Julie Duell for putting this together, and that's about all we're going to go over for perspective for right now.